So here's a bathroom that was not done by Old World Craftsmen, but it's an interesting example because at first glance it looks pretty good. So let's take a closer look. We come in here and we have a simulated marble tile bathroom, and unfortunately the tile man did what I call mindless tile layout. He started here at the end of the shower with his nice bull nose, a ridiculously wide grout line, and some misaligned horizontal grout lines as well, stuck in a full tile, and then, whoa, whatever was left over, he put in a little sliver. On the back wall, curiously, he did a good job. He's got three nice pieces evenly balanced, and on the other side the bull nose is not nearly as bad. Now, if he had consulted with a designer, he would have known that if you set these tiles very close together, they give you a much more compelling version or simulation of marble, since marble tiles are usually set close. And down here we've got some missing grout, pretty major missing grout, and a decent transition where the carpenter and the tile man seem to communicate. The baseboard hits the threshold pretty well. But let's look at the other side. Here's a pretty shocking transition where the carpenter and the tile man did not talk to each other, and the baseboard projects way past the tile. The stone threshold doesn't seem to line up with anything and doesn't have, if you can see here, any finished edge at all, just chopped off, waiting for you to stub your toe on it. And then, insult to injury, the painter, curiously, didn't paint or stain the edge of this exposed molding, which we never would leave, but if you did, at least you figure you'd stain it. Over here we have another classic non-communication catastrophe. The electrician stuck his outlet in our handsome molding, well, what would be a handsome molding. Now, we always put a double stud next to our doors to make it physically impossible for the electrician to do this crime. And then the painter once again did his insult to injury by not finishing that little chop out for the outlet. A better approach to this, if this ever does happen, is you build out the wood around the outlet and you set the outlet inside the wood. But here, non-communication and sort of almost a feeling of desperation. Here's another awkward one that's not aesthetic. We've got two hooks on the back of the door, a little bit of a layout oversight. Whack! That first hook crashes into the door, and you can see the door cannot open to a full 90 degrees, somewhat more close to 80 degrees, really encroaching the opening, and of course, obviously is making a dent in the wall. Here's another one that's not aesthetic on the other side. The toilet paper holder has been installed way too close to the tank. Without getting too graphic, a person sitting on this toilet would have to reach around behind them in a really awkward way, and it's set very high, so they have to twist their shoulder around to get the toilet paper off the roll. And if we look closely at these tile lines, there's some other atrocities. Up here, these wide and varied grout lines really take away from the feeling that it's really a marble shower. Another detail, which I don't know if you can see in the video, is there's actually no grout along the ceiling. And then I'll zoom out again and see if you can take a look at the top line there. It changes and bellies down because the ceiling was inferred out into level. So you have a pretty shocking off-level line. So basically, if a bathroom that looks more or less like this is okay with you, you may not need Old World Craftsmen. But if you want all of these details, plus you don't want shocking orange moldings put with your gray paint and your cool tiles, your cool marble tiles, then you do need Old World Craftsmen. If you want to avoid some details like this shocking situation above the molding, I don't know what happened over here, over the window, then you do need us. And here's another example where the tile guy and the painter kind of laid errors over each other. At the bottom, we start with a nice bull nose exactly right with the wall. And as we run up, the wall is a good 1/2 inch You can see this is the wall, oops, sorry, here. It's a good 1/2 inch out of level. So by the time we get to the top of the shower, we have about 3/8 of an inch of wall hanging out here. And here's a really interesting touch. The painter, although he managed to slop some gray paint on the edge here, he didn't paint this line, which really highlights this crazy difference.